Be moving slow, like a snail in the snow. Should've brought a bard, yeah, they had to know. Adventure crawling like a terrapin turtle, but we gon' make it, no matter how we hurdle. Ain't no time for waiting, gotta pick up the pace. Every step we take and gotta be in the race. No resting or slugging, gotta keep moving quick. We gonna reach the top, ain't no doubt. Stick to the script.
Greetings, citizens, and welcome back to the Hidden Dagger Inn. Today we're going to jump into the Bard archetype, and we're going to talk about its evolution and speculating on what it might look like in Ashes of Creation. So without further ado, let's get started. First, let's discuss where the Bard originated from and what was his role. The Bard's origin in real story history dates back to ancient Celtic cultures, particularly among the Gauls and the Britons. Bards were esteemed members of society, serving as storytellers, musicians, and historians, and keepers of tradition. They played a crucial role in preserving the passing down of cultural knowledge, history, and values, primarily through oral tradition, music, and poetry.
You know, bards have often been portrayed as a musical class, and while they can be that, many bard applications may exist in just telling a story. Telling a story is going to be the thematic component for how the bard interacts with the party. And that story is going to enhance players' abilities to perform.
In the context of MMOs, the Bard class is inspired by these historical roots, but adapted to fit the mechanics and narratives of fantasy gaming. Bards in MMOs often play a unique and versatile role, combining elements of support and utility, and sometimes offense. Here are some common roles and features of the Bards in MMOs. Support and buffing. Bards typically excel in providing support to their allies. They use songs, chants, and magical abilities to enhance the performance of their party members. This can include increasing attack power, defense, speed, and other attributes. As confirmed by Steven, we also know that Bard is going to be imperative for restoring mana, a mechanic shared by all party members. Crowd control. Many bards have abilities that can crowd control the battlefield by stunning, silencing, or charming their enemies. These crowd control abilities are essential for managing difficult encounters and keeping the party safe. Healing. Well, not to be confused with a cleric, bards often have the abilities that can heal or provide regenerative effects to their allies, contributing to the party's overall sustainability during battles. Versatility. Bards are known for their versatility and adaptability. They can often switch roles between support, damage dealing, and utility based on the needs of the party and the situation. Something that's happened in past MMOs, and I could totally see happening in Ashes of Creation, is that bards can perform actual music or engage in role-playing activities, adding an immersive and social dimension to the game. This can include playing instruments or composing songs and participating in in-game events. Dance and song mechanics. Bards might use dances and songs to cast these buffs, requiring them to actively maintain their effects in combat, making position and timing very important.
Those buffs are going to be related to how they perform. If they're engaged in combat and they land a skill shot against a target, allies within a certain range of that bard are going to be granted a temporary buff that relates to the skill the bard used against a target. So let's say the bard is using a weapon, has a sword out, and slashes some performance action, does some gladiatorial-looking performance attack, and it looks so great, he inspires his friends around him to increase their multiplier on critical damage, and now they deal additional damage against targets.
And while the bard is not intended to fill the primary healing role of, say, a cleric, you might be asking, Peon, well, where does the bard role fall in under the Holy Trinity system? Well, I'm going to let Steven explain it for you.
Most non-healing support classes fall into between the hybrid of support to tank or support to DPS, right? So they tend to fill a hybrid role. The Bard has an opportunity to fill that space and is a very integral component to maximizing a particular group or archetype's ability to perform through the use of their supportive and buff-oriented abilities. As we've talked in the past, many of these are support based on proximity. Some of them are support based on targeted buffs. We're going to be following the format of abilities that adhere to dances, songs, and stories when it relates to the bard.
Based on the game design principles of Lineage 2, Arcade, Dark Age of Camelot, and Pathfinder RPG rule sets, we can speculate on where Stephen might gain his influence from the Bard class in Ashes of Creation, and how it might be conceptualized. You will often hear Stephen refer to Lineage 2, and Bards in Lineage 2 had classes like the Sword Singer and Blade Dancer, and they provided significant buffs to their party members, enhancing their combat abilities. In Ashes of Creation, Bards could have a similar role, offering powerful auras and buffs that increase allies' damage, defense, and other attributes. Arcage's influence had versatile roles, where Bards could, using the Songcraft tree, heal, buff, and even deal damage. In Ashes of Creation, they could incorporate this versatility, allowing Bards to switch between supportive and offensive roles, also defensive, depending on the situation. That being said, one of my favorite Arcade classes was mostly a melee damage type player that used the Songcraft tree, and that was the Blade Dancer, which will also be in Ashes of Creation. One of my favorite versions of the Bard came from Dark Age of Camelot. While there is no realm versus realm, there will be very large-scale battles in the open world, similar to Dark Ages of Camelot's large-scale PvP. Bards in Ashes of Creation might excel in mass PvP scenarios, providing much-needed support and area-wide buffs, crowd controls, and debuffs. Bards in Dark Age of Camelot could increase their group's movement speed. This could translate to Bards in Ashes of Creation, as Stephen has mentioned movement speed being tied to the Bard. That could improve travel speed and grant temporary mobility buffs. Very important for tactical positioning in battles. And Pathfinder is also a very big influence, having performance-based abilities and spells and versatility, inspirational abilities, abilities that inspire and boost morale. Pathfinder's bardic inspirations could be the key.
Bards are intended to amplify a party or raid's ability to perform within their own class. That amplification isn't just intended for DPS, but also for support, for healing, for taking damage, for movement.
So the Bard in Ashes of Creation is likely to be a hybrid support class, providing a mix of buffs, healing, and possibly crowd control along with movement speed. They might not be top-tier damage dealers, but they will excel in enhancing their party's overall effectiveness. The active playstyle mechanics, such as skill shots and active participation in maintaining songs and performance, Bards will likely need to be engaged and aware of the battlefield dynamics. So if you're rolling with the group and watching YouTube videos while playing, this might not be the class for you. Their abilities should certainly synergize very well with the group and with all the other classes, making them a vital part of group composition in PvP and PvP scenarios. Their adaptive abilities, Bards should be able to customize their abilities to suit different situations, perhaps through a talent or skill system that allows to switch to focus between support, damage, and utility. And similar to leaving your cell phone at home, you're definitely not going to want to leave a Bard behind. You're going to want them in your group, and I'll leave this one final clip from Stephen, very short but sweet, but very important.
Again, pointing back to a more old school Trinity design, is that no party is complete without the non-healing support class, which is the Bard in Ashes of Creation.
There you have it, folks. There's our speculation for the Bard, and it's pretty easy because we have a lot of games that Stephen has played in the past to go off of. If you're still watching, I'd like to say thank you. And if you enjoyed the video, please consider hitting that like and subscribe, as it really helps me out being a new channel. Also, I'd like to see your comments below on what Bard was your favorite Bard in past games, and is there a certain mechanic that I missed that you would absolutely like to see in Ashes of Creation? Leave it below. And of course, if you're looking for a guild to join, come on, stop by Overlord. I'll leave the link in the description so you can go ahead and come and check us out in Discord. We're a server-first guild, been with them for 2 years. I highly recommend them, so come check us out. Also, if you just want to come out and hang out with me, come to my Discord at the Hidden Dagger Inn. Again, I'll leave the link below. And if you want to be even more engaged, come stop by my Twitch stream we do every Saturday and Wednesday and hang out with us, chat with us, and let's talk anything Ashes. All right, guys, thank you, Verra, and have a great day.
Work complete.